Hello. Well, I came across this article. Liam Neeson in racism storm after admitting he wanted to kill a black man. Now, what's going on here? This is Liam Neeson, just in case you're not sure what he looks like. And it goes like this. Actor Liam Neeson is facing a major racism storm. It's racism already, isn't it? After admitting he once set out to kill an innocent black man. Actually, innocent isn't quite the word, because he was hoping somebody would pick a fight with him, which means that that somebody wouldn't be innocent. But this is the BBC. He said he walked the streets with a weapon for a week, years ago, hoping to take out his anger after someone close to him was raped by a black man. I'm assuming the victim is a woman. That's probably sexist, but there you are. I'm going to be racist myself in a minute, so hold that thought. The Hollywood star said he was ashamed of his actions, so he's not proud of this, but his remarks have sparked widespread outrage. Of course they do, because you can't admit to this sort of thing, Mr. Neeson. Neeson hasn't commented further since the interview was published by The Independent on Monday. He was speaking to promote his new film, Cold Pursuit, a thriller about a man who seeks retribution after his son is murdered. So what Neeson was saying was that he had a bad experience and he was consumed by a boiling anger, and this anger led him into the start of a course of action which never came to fruition, and he's using that fury to inform the way he conducts himself while acting in this film. That sounds reasonable enough to me. And then he has to say, I'm not racist. Because you can say you're almost anything in the world, but not a racist. That's the worst. Asked how his character turns to anger, now he's talking about the film, the actor replied that something primal kicks in when someone, oh, there's a typo, when someone close to you is the victim of violence. All right, well, that's reasonable enough. He said, God forbid you've ever had a member of your family hurt under criminal conditions. I'll tell you a story. This is true. Neeson said the alleged rape, it's now an alleged rape, by the way, took place a long time ago, and he found out about it when he came back from a trip abroad. The actor went on to use racially offensive language about the attacker. Now, I don't know whether that means this down here or something else that the reporter didn't want to write down. That's the trouble with censorship. You never quite know, do you? But I'm assuming it's what's down here. He said she handled this. Oh, yeah, there it is, she. She handled the situation of the rape in the most extraordinary way. But my immediate reaction was, I asked, did she know who it was? No. What colour were they? She said it was a black person. Then what he did was, I went up and down areas, I don't know what areas, with a cosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. You see, he doesn't like what happened to him. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some, uses air quotes with fingers, oh, here's the racially offensive language, black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, you know, so that I could kill him. Right. Neeson has been subject to huge criticism for the comments. I'll bet he has, because you can't confess that you've had boiling anger And he was looking for a black man because that's how the attacker was described. I should think if the woman had said that he was covered in tattoos, he'd have been looking for a tattooed man, wouldn't he? The fact is, there were fewer black people around than white people, so it's a slightly closer identification, although in his case, he said he'd just about have hit out at any black man. But one that was picking a fight with him, remember? He wasn't just going randomly bopping people on the head. And in fact, he never actually got to hit anyone anyway, even though the opportunity must have presented itself. Now, there was a black, I don't know whether you'd call him an activist or a terrorist, who was in the Black Power in America in the 70s. Now, I don't know, was it Huey Newton? It may not have been, but it was someone like that. And he said that he had made a policy of raping white women as a political act. He actually did that. He didn't just think about it. I don't notice all these SJWs criticising that sort of attitude. The journalist who did the interview, Clémence Michalon, told BBC News, anyone hearing the thoughts that he's reporting here would be shocked and appalled in many ways. And he himself says he's ashamed to think of the way he used to think and says it's awful. So he says it's awful. So he's talking about a boiling fury, and here I'm going to say, which is in many ways an Irish characteristic in any case. Any Irish literature and plays, you get that boiling fury that turns up a lot in the Irish psyche. He was just being Irish. In an accompanying article in The Independent, columnist Cuba Shand-Baptiste wrote, what immediately struck me when reading about this revelation was how deeply the white supremacist trope of the black brute versus the helpless woman appears to have permeated society. No, look. Just a minute, Shand-Baptiste. That guy who raped that woman was a brute. And he was black. So that makes him a black brute. Let's not mince words over this. And the woman was raped. She was helpless. That's what happened. It's not a trope. It was there. It happened. Los Angeles Times columnist Carla Hall wrote that his conduct was despicable. He didn't hit anyone. Adding that she now wants him to talk about whether he has dealt with whatever racism he still harbours. Well, I'll tell you what, this guy here, Shand-Baptiste, he's harbouring racism. Why don't you have a go at him in your spare time? She wrote, was he racist or just a tightly wound man capable of vindictive violence? Tightly wound man is more what I'd say. Or was he both? Of course he was a racist. Yes, of course, because you, Carla Hall, were right in his mind then and are right in his mind now, aren't you? You can read minds. You know exactly what's going on. Trying to find a random black man to get... He wasn't finding a random black man. He was hoping that a black man would pick a fight with him. There's slight difference there. And in fact, nothing happened and nobody picked a fight with him and he didn't pick a fight with anyone else and nobody got walloped. And he gave every indication of being capable of fighting. Oh, yes, he did. He was a tightly wound man in a fury. He still didn't do anything about it. That's a pretty explosive combination. Yeah, it is. I've said before how sorry I feel for men with all that testosterone swimming about, which I'm quite sure is a great burden in many instances. And his revelation about himself is deeply disturbing. No, it isn't. I've had 3 sons, and each one of them has done violence to the house. One son punched his fist straight through a window. That was interesting. Another son kicked a wall and put his foot through the wall. It was only lath and plaster. And a third son picked up a coffee table and threw it at a door. Now, they weren't attacking people, they were attacking things. Oh, yeah, and one son slammed a wardrobe, I don't know which one that was, slammed a wardrobe door so hard the whole thing bust straight off its hinges. It had a mirror on it as well, so that left quite a mess in the bedroom. Young men have violent reactions. They have trouble controlling them. My 3 sons have turned into very nice, law-abiding, wonderful people. And they never hit anybody either. They hit the wall, they hit the wardrobe or the window or picked up through a coffee table. But it was there. That's what happens to men. It's just unfortunate. It's not a confession, it's a fact of life. The thing is, men have to learn to control it. And it looks like however much of a fury Neeson was in, he did control it. He was walking around with a kosh, but he didn't do anything with it. On Twitter, Frederick Joseph, whoever he is, I bet he drinks a lot of soy though, who works for better representation in the media. Representation of what? Wrote that Neeson's story just shows how meaningless and inconsequential Black lives are to some. Here we are, Frederick Joseph. I suppose better representation is probably to do with black people, but I'm just taking it in that context here. Liam Neeson being ready to take any black life over what one person allegedly did just shows how meaningless and inconsequential black lives are to some. He didn't kill anybody, you oaf. Even him telling the story, you see, that's the thing. He told the story. Frederick Joseph, you never got really angry with someone? Demonstrates a level of privilege. Privilege! He was boilingly mad. Privilege would have gone to the police and said, arrest every black man in the vicinity because my friend got raped. That's privilege. And understanding there might not be repercussions. What do you mean might not be repercussions? You hit somebody, generally speaking, there are repercussions. Oh, for goodness sake. Here, well, we've got a better one here. Philip Henry. What's most disturbing about what Neeson said is everything. Oh, yeah, that's a good analysis. But what's particularly terrifying is the idea that the death of any other black guy would satisfy the revenge quota. Well, it's true. It wasn't sensible. It didn't make any sense. It was not logical. It was just a passionate fury on which he did not act. Now, he could have acted. I mean, walking around with a kosh is dangerous, but he didn't do anything with it. So there it lies. To the clear indication is that he knows his whiteness would protect if he followed through on it. That is a load of horse shit. And I've shoveled a lot of horse shit. I know what horse shit smells like and what it looks like. And it looks like this and stinks like this as well. Being upset someone attacked your family is understandable. Oh, that's very big of you. But targeting innocent black men for a week with a weapon when you didn't even know who did it is racist. No, he wasn't targeting anyone. He was wandering around hoping that a black man would pick a fight with him, which nobody did. Says something about the local black people, really, doesn't it? And it says something about Neeson because he didn't try picking a fight with them either. Do you know how many innocent black people have lost their lives in the past for stuff like this? This is not okay. No. What he's referring to is when people, and not just black people, any out group, Jews, witches, Huguenots. They get beaten up for the actions of other people. It happens all the time. It's not okay, but he didn't do anything. Racism and white privilege is so pervasive. Neeson felt comfortable enough to tell the world. He was confessing, and then he said how dreadful it was, how he looked back and with the wisdom that comes with maturity, realised that he wasn't acting rationally. In search of a random black person to provoke and kill. No, he wasn't looking for one to provoke. He was hoping that one would start with him. He didn't provoke anyone. And he probably anticipated this would come with no consequences, and he might be right. Shanita Hubbard, you're an idiot. That's all I can say. Neeson referred back to his comments later in the interview, adding, "It was horrible, horrible when I think back that I did that, and I've never admitted that, and I'm saying it to a journalist. God forbid. It's awful, but I did learn a lesson from it. Yes." But learning isn't what these people are all about. And actually, no, you didn't learn a lesson, because the lesson is, Neeson, never tell anybody you're a human being with human passions, because these people will seize on any aspect of your humanity and they will try to dig your grave with it. And that's it. Well, somebody fairly intelligent here, Liam Neeson, had a terrible impulse that he didn't act on and that he now knows was terrible. If we're going to cancel people for being tempted to do wrong or for struggling with something before coming to the right conclusion, well, we're going to be busy. Eric Snyder, thank you for being sensible, reasonable, and above all, human. Okay, well, I'm just leaving it there. God. Oh, this is disgraceful. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. And if you wish to donate, it's through PayPal at grannyopteryx@gmail.com. Till next time.